This video is for educational purposes only, and remember to only test your own hardware. Please, please, please be responsible, as everything shown has been used testing our own equipment. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we will be going over the Portapack H4M HackRF. Real quick, the Portapack H4M is a sandwich device in between the HackRF being the bottom and the H4M being the top. And you can differentiate the H4M from the H2M because the H4M has this clicky rotary dial in the front, and the H2M has a knob with some sort of a D-pad. Now, this is a very fun device. This is an educational device, so you do need to be careful on how you use it. It's somewhat of a tiny miracle. A radio lab in your pocket. Standalone, no need for PC, no need for anything. It's kind of its own thing. The whole thing, made into one device. And a big thanks to Open Source SDR for sending this in for testing, because apparently my therapist is booked. And it comes with a bunch of cool features that separate it from the H2M, and all in all, it's a very, very well-built device. You get a 3¼ inch touchscreen, a rotary knob right here, and a firmware literally called Mayhem. If that's not a vibe, I don't know what is. A standalone waterfall and spectrum analyzer, ADS-B, AIS decoding, FM/AM record replay, and tether to GNU radio on a laptop. This is pretty much great for learning SDR. Field captures, lab testing, not really great for like illegal hijinks, but definitely great for SDR. Just a quick legal note, this device can transmit. That means it has real power. Only test your own hardware. Don't be a skid. Make sure that you know what you're doing. Don't just get one of these and play around and get yourself in some trouble, as that can be detrimental to your freedom. Now, the Portapack H4M is an improved Portapack front end that mounts on the top of a HackRF 1 or compatible HackRF mainboard. You'll find a lot of clones of the Portapack and the H4M on places like AliExpress, Amazon sometimes, Tindy. Make sure when you do grab one, you grab one from a reputable seller like Open Source SDR, Rabbit Labs, or Lab 401. Now, the H4M gives you a 3¼ inch 240 by 320 TFT touchscreen display, a tactile rotary knob, physical buttons like physical, actual buttons as opposed to whatever they had going on in the H2M, a built-in mic, as well as a built-in speaker. Where is that speaker? I know that speaker is, there it is, that speaker, right there. Now, you do have improved battery management, as well as a very, very welcome USB-C port, which is kind of a big deal, because before there was just a lot of things going on with the H2M. Now, you do have a proper on and off switch here on the side, but I do want you to keep in mind, if you do actually want to charge this properly, you do have to have this switched on. If you switch this off, much like the M5 stack card pewters, for example, you must have this on to charge. If you have it off, it will not charge. So please, please, please keep that in mind. There are GPIO and I2C headers for expansion, which is kind of huge if you want add-ons like GPS, extra sensors, or experimental I/O. Although, from the time of this recording, there is only one board for the H4M, and it's an ESP32 Wi-Fi board. And even if you had it, there's a lot of complications with it. It's not as well thought out as you think it is. Now, the radio brain of this device is the HackRF 1, which once again is the bottom plate right here. But it pretty much means it has a frequency range from 1 megahertz to about 6 gigahertz. So it can pick up and receive at one time. And that wide of a coverage makes it more of like a Swiss Army knife tool in the realm of spectrum analyzer, radio frequencies, and RF stuff through microwaves. Practical translation is you can see FM radio, ADS-B, Wi-Fi bands, Bluetooth, many unencrypted digital modes, and a lot more. Whether it's useful, and it depends on what you learn and, if you have legal permission. But there are real use scenarios to why you would need a Portapack and an SDR radio, especially in the realm of understanding what is around you. Now, if you're just getting into the realm of SDR radio and Portapacks, the Mayhem firmware is open source, meaning it is free for you to download. And we will be posting a step-by-step guide on how to update your H4M and how to stay up to date with just all the latest features and things that you can do with this device. Now, in the Receive tab, you have a bunch of different options, from a Fox Hunt to sub-gigahertz radio to Bluetooth receiving to receiving audio to literally airplane data. Keep in mind, this is in the Receive tab. When we get to the Transmit tab, you should not transmit unless you know what you're doing or if you have permission to transmit on that band. One neat feature that I use personally is the Bluetooth receive band, so I can see literally every single Bluetooth device in my vicinity, and possibly other people's. This comes in handy when you're trying to understand if a device is connecting or is even working properly at all. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you connected to the device, but you'll able to see the RSSI, the DBM, as well as the MAC address. In the Settings tab, you can see you have your app settings, you can calibrate your touch screen, you can calibrate your touch screen's threshold, configure mode, converter, you can adjust the date and time. It does have a built-in real-time clock, so you can also do that as well. You can adjust your radio settings, you can analyze your battery, which I feel is what makes this very special. Is the battery management is a lot better than its predecessors, as well as having the ability to change splash screens and the theme. So similarly like the M5 Stack Cardputer, this device will not charge unless you turn it on. So you have to have it on while charging. Please keep that in mind, as if you have this turned off, you will notice that that battery tab on the top will not move unless you power it on, then charge it. So aside from being able to receive signals and analyze signals that are around you, you can also transmit. But fair warning, when you transmit signals, you want to be perfectly aware of what you're doing, as transmitting to the wrong signal can in fact get you in trouble. So do keep that in mind. Privy to the name of the firmware, there is a lot of mayhem that can be caused with this device, as you can transmit flipper signals or receive flipper signals, for example. You can do the same thing you can do on the flipper as far as CVS. There are different... they definitely changed the name of something. So there are some built-in apps that you definitely need permission to use, and I would not advise that you play around with transmitting unless you absolutely know what you're doing. Now, there are BLE spam options the same way you could on a Kisu, on a flipper, things of that sort. So you do want to keep that in mind. To transmit, for example, to the wrong frequency and use your microphone can get you in a lot of trouble. So I know I've said that a couple times now, but I do need to kind of iterate that people who do so are 100% skids. And for those of you that don't know, a skid is a script kiddie, or somebody who absolutely does not care about morals and ethics and is just a seeming troll, and it pretty much reflects badly on anybody who is even interested in these types of devices. A popular feature is the looking glass option. Now, looking glass is kind of, impaired in the name. So when you click it, you can see a visual representation, or let's say you're on the 2.4 gigahertz frequency, for example, you will see these kind of visuals, which are called waterfalls. Now, there are a lot of different, how do I put it? There's a lot of different visuals that you can see when you're on different bands. And once again, this is only for, analytics, for you to understand what's around you. So when you see waterfalls, for example, you have an idea of there being a signal around you. And to see different signals around you, you can actually go to the P tab right here, and you can use the rotary dial to see what else is around you. So we got aviation voice, standard aviation, ADSP, which is airplane data, ACARS, FM broadcast, which is, just regular radio, simple regular radio. Now, before you play around with these options over here, I need you to keep in mind that if you play with the wrong option, you could potentially damage your device. Now, this is a radio device, so if you are just getting into this, I would recommend that you see the video by Snorin and a video by Talking Sasquatch and another video, oh my god, I forgot his name. But I digress. There are multiple videos on how to not damage your H4M. So be very, very careful when you're adjusting your settings. Also, once again, do not power this device on without an antenna, as it is a radio device. And with all radio devices, if you do not power this on without an antenna, you could potentially and most definitely damage your internal, the radio module itself. Ultimately, SDR radios are pretty simple devices. They can be a little complicated, but with a little bit of know-how, you can understand what's around you. And understanding radio signals, just at its basic level, is quite easy as long as you know what you're doing. Be very mindful when it comes to transmitting and receiving. Do not transmit or receive without specific permission, especially on specific bands. Now keep in mind the H4M has a bunch of neat features, and there is a pack of different antennas. So you can get a pack with a lot of different antennas, and not every antenna is built the same. Each antenna is dedicated to its specific band and frequency. About 5 minutes ago, right before I started recording this, and I was in the middle of trying to showcase a few other features, I still don't know how it happened. I turned the antenna very slightly, and I snapped my telescopic antenna. And although I wouldn't say this reflects about the antenna, there are different antennas and better quality antennas than others. And even though I've broken my antenna, I now have a new pointer device, which is pretty cool because I had just gotten this finger pointer the other day, which, now I can hop between pointers. But open source SDR and other companies as well have a box full of antennas, and we will be going over what each one of these antennas does and for their specific frequency in another video as well on antenna knowledge, because that's kind of something we need to go over, in particular about SDR radios and then just in the realm of radio in general. Now, even though the telescopic antenna is kind of like the general go-to antenna for the H4M and other SDR radios, I do have to get a new one, or borrow mine from my Clockwork Pi uConsole SDR mod by Hacker Gadgets, which seems like might be my best course of action right now. But that's the Portapack H4M. It's a pocket-sized signal spy device that listens better than my therapist. And if you enjoyed this and liked my my brief overview about the H4M, like, comment, subscribe, even though that feels so weird saying out of my mouth. And just let us know what weird signals you'd sniff out with yours. Also, I would like to thank you guys for supporting the channel and help encourage me to make better videos and more full-length videos as well. We will be dropping a video on how to use your H4M as soon as I get a new antenna, and we will be going over what antennas do what, as well as different radio devices in the future. Now, I know I've probably said this a couple of times now, be very, very careful on what you transmit and what you receive. And don't get yourself into any trouble. Don't be a skid. Really, really, don't be a skid. Like, genuinely, because people who mismanage devices like these make tech enthusiasts, hobbyists, and actual members of this community look bad. And you'll find a lot of content creators who just seem really hell-bent on causing mayhem and just being overall turds. Don't be a turd as well. Once again, thank you to Open Source SDR for sending this in for testing. That telescopic antenna is not it though. And if you wanted to grab a H4M or other SDR devices, you can check out opensdr.com, as they have a lot of cool open source projects and builds that you can find on their website. Like the ESP32 Dev by Cyphertech, who is one of the most amazing developers and hardware creators I've ever had the pleasure of following. Awesome guy. And the only place that you can get an ESP32 Dev, for example, is on Open Source SDR. But you will find a lot of other devices that kind of don't make sense, like whatever the Marauder thermal cam radio that's on there, which I can't wait to hopefully play around with, because I messaged the father of Marauder himself, just call me Coco, and it seemed like he had absolutely no idea or hand in whatever kind of device that is. And it'd be probably nice, because I definitely need a new thermal cam. But this is Khalil Cal from Valley Tech Custom Solutions signing off, reminding you, stay curious, stay connected, and if your device stops transmitting, maybe it's having just as bad of a day as you are. Thank you guys.